Mm-hmm.
Hi guys, thank you for joining us this evening for our live Q&A on social media. My name is Olivia. I'm a fundraising support officer in the ICS Fundraising team. I'm also a Rally ICS RV, so I've done the programme and I've been where you are. And yeah, I'm basically going to chat here with Emily, who is our social media queen and guru, or social media officer as she's known in the office. And she's going to basically give you all her expert advice on social media and using it, and how you can incorporate that into your fundraising. So today basically going to just cover social media, how it can help you with your fundraising, and we're going to go through a breakdown of different social media platforms as well. So, Emily, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit further?
Sure. Hi. I started working here at the beginning of this year, and I run the social media channels for VSO and ICS, which is actually 9 channels in total, so it's quite a big job. So if you see anything posted by VSO or ICS, that's probably me somewhere. So give me some love if you see.
Give her some likes.
Some likes, yeah.
Boost those funds. Great, okay. So we'll just get going then. One thing I would like to say is we are going to be answering your questions throughout. So if you do have any questions, please comment below the video, and what we'll do is try to cover them all. If we don't, for whatever reason, cover it during this half an hour Q&A, we'll make sure that someone follows up with you so that you get the answer. Let's get going then. So here's a really interesting fact. So 1/3 of all online donations are done through peer-to-peer fundraising, which is basically what all you guys are doing. So really, you do have a huge power there, and something really to harness. So just to get us going then, if I were a volunteer and I wanted to start fundraising but use social media as a way to do that, how would you suggest going about it, Emily?
So first of all, the thing that I would say is that social media can be very effective when you're fundraising, but it doesn't work on its own. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work in isolation. So when you're planning your social media, make sure it's running in tandem with all your other activities. So you're still going to need to do all your fundraising activities. You're still going to need to have those conversations one-on-one with your family and send those personal emails and talk about your cause as much as you can. But social media is just a way to kind of complement that and update people on what you're doing and remind everyone about your project and get them kind of following your story and get them bought into what you're doing even more. So yeah, it doesn't work just on its own. There aren't that many generous strangers out there who are just going to find your Twitter link and give you all of their money. But with other stuff, it can be a really great way to boost your fundraising even further.
So you say it's more of like something to complement everything else that you're doing.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, so we still don't have any questions, which I'm quite disappointed about. So do send in your questions. Please comment if you do have a question, and we can hopefully answer it throughout. Otherwise, I'm going to be asking Emily loads of questions the whole time. I guess with you mentioned before about telling your story and getting your story across, what would your best advice be on how to convey your story on social media?
So I guess with fundraising, you need to start with creating that really solid Just Giving page.
Yes.
You need to tell people about why you're fundraising, who you're fundraising for, get everyone really connected to the cause and bought into that story. So having that foundation of a really well set up Just Giving page, having that to link back to and refer to is really great. And then also having maybe a more detailed blog post as well to start off, or a vlog, because vlogs are a great way to communicate that passion, because you can be yourself, and so that's a really good starting point if you've got that basis. Especially as people are a bit cynical about charities nowadays, and you need to really hammer home that their money is going to be in safe hands. So starting from that solid base point, then you just need to tell keep telling your story. So over the 3 months or how long it is until you go on placement, keep updating them whenever there's anything happening relating to your placement, your training, your fundraising activities. Whenever you can, keep telling them your story, keep giving them the opportunity to donate to your cause, and create something really compelling that they can follow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just posting the same, this is what I'm doing, please donate. It's kind of letting them follow you on a journey.
Yeah, definitely.
And then hopefully at some point on that journey they will give you money.
Yes, exactly. Fingers crossed, that's what we want. I've just posted a link there to our ICS Fundraising support booklet. So if you haven't set up a Just Giving page yet, or you need more information on that, it is included in the booklet. So have a look through there. We've also actually had our first question. Woo! Someone's asked, how frequently should we post our stories? So do you have any ideas on that? Like how often? I mean, I heard read some information from Just Giving themselves, who said they had to kind of see your story or your Just Giving link at least 3 times before they were to donate. So that's one piece of advice I'd say, is like at least get your Just Giving page out there, once a week or something like that, if that's a method that you're using. But do you have any ideas or advice on top of that, Emily?
I would say, don't just post your link as many times as you can without there being any developments. This is what was I saying about building a story. Like if there is a development, like think of it as you would think of it when you get the urge to post something on Instagram. You're like, oh, I want to tell people about this. Just think about that in terms of ICS. So if there's a development that's related to ICS, then that's a good excuse to post about it.
Yeah.
So as long as there's something new that's happening that's interesting, then there's no limit to how often you can post.
Yeah.
But then I would say there are certain channels where you can post much more regularly, like Twitter. Because of the algorithm, you can post kind of 3 times a week. But on Facebook, it's not going to get seen by as many people if you post that many times. So probably just kind of once a week on Facebook, unless you're saying something very different and there's a big update. Yeah. Okay. So it kind of depends on the channel as well.
Great. Okay. Hope that answered your question. Yeah, I don't know, do you want to maybe share with everyone a little bit more about some things that you did for your fundraising, perhaps?
Sure. So what I was saying about setting up a really solid foundation, I actually did create my own blog, which I used throughout my placement, and I did a couple at the beginning, really focusing in on the cause and kind of what we were aiming to do and the projects I was going to go out and do, so that people really knew the kind of granular detail of all of that stuff. And then I went on to actually blog about kind of the experience of fundraising as well, because it is a bit strange to ask friends and family to give you money. So I definitely did one about what it's like to be a fundraiser, especially working in the charity sector. It's interesting because we have professional fundraisers, and this was the first time I'd actually had to step into that role. So I definitely wrote a blog about that and about doing a bake. Actually, I think it was a big bake sale that I did at work. So yeah, I did a lot of blogging, but you might want to choose a different way.
Yeah, and there are like lots of different ways that you can do it, which we're going to go on to later. We do have one example. I'm going to post the link to a YouTube video now of a Restless Development volunteer, Emma Honus, and she promoted her sponsored challenges through YouTube videos. So the first one that she created was about her 14-hour hula hoop challenge, which she made the video of her hula hooping around different landmarks in London, and her second video that she made was for her sponsored walk to promote the kind of distance that she'd be covering. I think she was doing some 3 peaks. So I'll post the link to those videos, and she ended up raising about over £1,000 from doing that, in combination with a couple of smaller activities. So it just kind of shows the sort of impact and how people just really love to see what you're doing, and it kind of makes it a lot more engaging for people. And shows a sort of skill, show off any skills that you've got as well. That's kind of good. We talked a little bit then just about different kinds of media. So do you want to kind of sort of expand a little bit more on that, Emily?
Yeah, so the other thing I would say is make sure you have some kind of visual media to go with what you're posting. So I've got a great stat here.
We love stats.
On Facebook, posts that have photographs get 53% more likes, 104% more comments, and 84% more click-throughs. So just adding a photo to a post can just change the level of engagement a lot. And it's much more likely that people are actually going to click through to your Just Giving page and read more about what you've got going on. So what I would say is make sure you're using interesting photos, but not just photos. Like, try and vary it. Like, can you make a video? Can you make an edited video? Can you make an animation? Really play to your strengths of what kind of creative stuff you like to do. And yeah, mix it up so that people aren't just seeing photos. They might see a video one day and photos another day, and kind of keep surprising people to keep that engagement going.
Absolutely. So I guess as well with talking about different kinds of media, one example I did with my ICS fundraising was I was doing a gig night and I needed to promote it, and so at the time I was at university still, so I used a Facebook event to promote it. And I'm not very good at sort of designing things online, so I asked my friend to make a flyer for me, and it's only a small flyer, but it meant that it was really...
Use your friends as well.
Yes, use your friends, your talented friends.
Yeah.
But I asked her to help me out, and she made a really great small flyer, and that was kind of... I made the post public, shared it throughout my friends, shared it on the event and asked people to pass it on, posted it on the band's page who were playing, and then it just kind of got shared a good few times through that, and that's obviously a great way to promote your event. So that was kind of a good little example there.
And did you just use Facebook, or were you using different?
Kind of word of mouth. I did print out some posters and put them up in the Union and in the venue that I was using. It was just a small pub in Bristol, and they really got on board and helped me out, and I put some posters up in there, but yeah, it was kind of through those networks.
Great.
Going on to kind of different channels then, would you recommend using one social media channel, or would you recommend and really going for it with that, or would you recommend using a variety?
I would say it would be a shame to just limit yourself to one channel, because that might be kind of shutting out lots of potential donors. Like, I know that LinkedIn is actually a really surprising channel especially in terms of stuff I post for the organisation. People are really, really engaged on LinkedIn, and they tend to actually take actions. Don't think about the different channels that you could use, and what your audience might be, or where your connections are, and where your friends and family might be. And kind of make a decision based on that. I wouldn't just post on Facebook. Like, are you on Snapchat? Is there some way that you can use Snapchat? Can you use Instagram? Could you be posting your videos on YouTube as well? But then the other thing I would say is don't overdo it, because it takes a lot of work to build up a following. So if you're really starting from scratch with something, then maybe it's not the best idea to do it for this, to set up a whole new Twitter channel for this. If you're not already on there, you're not familiar with it,
and you might spend a lot of time just trying to get that momentum going where you could focus it somewhere else. Exactly.
If you focus on the channels that you know and that you enjoy using, like, for example, Instagram's probably my favourite social channel, and that's what I tend to share things on. And I mean, I think it's the same for this. Like, the social media that you're comfortable with is a good place to start. Don't try and do too much, basically, because you don't have that much time. So
that's true. And one kind of, there's still not that many questions, guys, so please keep them coming in, because otherwise, again, I'm just going to keep asking Emily loads and loads of questions. But one kind of common one that does get brought up quite a lot is how to get noticed. So it's people are using social media, but how do you kind of stand out from the crowd, or what's the best way to get
Sure,
noticed?
because it's difficult. I mean, I see so many different people posting their Just Giving pages all the time. Everyone's doing a 5K.
Something,
Yeah, exactly. I would say just try and be creative and think a bit differently. Be quirky, be funny. Like, we had this fantastic volunteer recently write a whole song called The Fundraising Blues, and it was it was really funny, and it was very upfront about the fact that he had to raise this money, and he was kind of a bit annoyed about, maybe slightly annoyed about it, so it was kind of amusing because of that. So we've had some really, that would be great. We've had some really great examples come through of things like that, things that grab people's attention and might be slightly different to just a generic ask.
Okay, amazing. I'll do that in a second. I'm gonna just post the link so you guys can watch that as well.
Great.
Cool. So another thing then that we kind of get asked about is the different ways that people can donate. So we often talk about, volunteers setting up their Just Text Giving code, because that makes it easier for people to donate. So I guess through social media, is there any other kind of things that you would say work?
I think basically you've just got to think of people who are using social media as the laziest people you'll ever meet. So that you really need to shove it, you need to give them the link to your donation page and make it as easy as possible and say it as much as you can. So one thing that you can do is on your blog, if you're linking to a blog, you can set up a widget on your website. So that's a little button on the side of your website that says donate here. So you'll be able to get that through Just Giving. There'll be a code that you can copy over from Just Give. It's quite straightforward, but we can share further details about that. So that means that whenever someone's reading your blog, they will have that kind of donation button right in front of them. And then I'd say, just make it as easy as possible for people.
So you can also share kind of your link and some information through WhatsApp and kind of send that to lots of different people. It's kind of a generic a message, and that's a good way to kind of get it out to people. If you do communicate a lot with your friends and family through WhatsApp, that's another good and sort of quick and easy way to...
You could even have it as your WhatsApp status.
Yes, exactly. There's loads of things, and putting your link or your blog link in all your social media platforms as well, so people can see that on your like Instagram page and go and have a nosy or something like that. So
and I'd say with the text to donate link, I mean there are some channels where people probably won't be using their browsers very often, so it might actually be easier for them just to text there and then. So especially if you're using things like Instagram or Snapchat, having a graphic that actually says on it your text to donate code might be really, really effective, rather than getting them to go to a whole new website and have lots and lots of stages. That's why text to donate can be really effective, because there are simply less steps, so people don't drop off.
So kind of covering all platforms for all your audience, really, kind of making sure you've got something for everyone. Great. So then I don't know if we want to talk a bit more about like sharing posts, because you have a good fact, another fact that you want to share with us all.
So don't be afraid to ask people to share things. I started doing this recently with posts on our ICS and VSO pages. I think I asked people to share something on the ICS page the other day, and because I asked them to share it, it got more shares than it did likes, which is not something we get very often. So people do sometimes just do what you ask them to do, and sharing can be really, really effective for peer-to-peer fundraising. So this is from Just Giving. 1 in 5 donation shares can lead to another donation. So make sure you're asking people when they have donated to your page to actually share that on Facebook afterwards, because 1 in 5 people who do that, there is a second donation. And also 1 in 10 shares leads to another share on Just Giving. So it can be a really, really effective way to kind of spread that message further. And also because Facebook, you are quite limited to your family and friends, the fact that other people are sharing it can get it out into a larger network that you can't otherwise access really on Facebook. So it's a really, really great thing to bear in mind. You're not just asking ask people to share, and don't be scared to do it.
Yeah, and following on from that, we've actually got a question from Rianne, who asked, are there ways that we can encourage people to share your Just Giving page? So I guess there are, like, you could probably actually have a chat with your fundraising support officer about this on a catch-up, but there are kind of little incentives that you could do or something, and maybe try and, like, I always said that there's little things like if someone donates to you, you could say that you're going to send them a postcard when you're on your placement, or you're going to I don't know, get them like a small gift whilst you're overseas or something like that. So it's very small, but people kind of really like that because they're getting something back, in return for either them donating or sharing your page. So you could say, if you share my page, I'll send you a postcard or something simple like that. But maybe have a chat with your FSO in more detail about that.
Or, I mean, even just being really on it, just noticing somebody's donated to your Just Giving page and be like, message them immediately, like, thank you so much. Could you share the fact that you've done this? And just being really kind of quick to react could really help.
Yeah, thank yous go a long way.
Yeah. And also, Just Giving makes it really easy to share things. Like it will actually prompt you once you've donated. It will prompt you to share, which is great because people are more likely to do so.
Mm-hmm. And we've got another question about photos. So is it possible to use some official photos from past projects to help with promotion and posts explaining what we are up to? So there are on, I guess maybe not with photos, but I know on YouTube there's loads of videos that previous volunteers have made, so you can definitely make use of those resources from your different agencies. In terms of photos, do VSO have things that we can send out, or?
I don't see any problem with people using our photos. I think maybe just like message us and ask, and I think we'd be happy to let you use them. I think we just need to credit our photographers basically, but if it was for fundraising purposes, then I'm sure there would be no problem. I'm also going to share some resources to a couple of websites where you can get royalty-free images, so those can be really useful if you don't have any photos of your own. But yeah, absolutely, I just ask us. We are people, we are here. There are people behind the pages, so yeah, just ask us.
Great, okay. Cool, so do you think we should move on now to maybe a bit of a breakdown of the different channels?
Yeah, sure.
So we might do this quite sort of quickly, but if you do, like I said, have any questions about either of these, any of the ones that we're going to talk about, just pipe up and we can always pop back to it. But we're going to go through a breakdown of different kind of channels that you could use, and Emily's going to give you her top tips on it. So, should we start off with Facebook?
Sure. So, Facebook, as many of you will know, because it's one of the most popular channels. So you have to bear in mind you're talking to people you already know, so you can be a bit more personal, you can be a bit more emotive because you're pretty sure you know who you're talking to, whereas compared to some other channels where it's quite, your audience is probably mostly made up of people that you don't know and kind of strangers who are new to the cause. So this can be a place where you share something maybe more personal, maybe with more of your own story behind it, something to think about. But then the other thing is Facebook is restricted to people that you know, so it's more difficult to reach those outer audience, other people. So make sure that you are asking for shares specifically on Facebook. That those shares can be really the only way that you get out to, wider than that circle that you already have. What else about Facebook? There is no limit on video lengths on Facebook, or character lengths, or the number of photos. It's quite flexible compared to other channels, which is good. So you can put your very long videos in there, although I wouldn't really recommend videos longer than maybe a minute and a half kind of thing on social, because people don't have time. Facebook Live, new exciting thing.
What we're doing now?
Yeah. This is probably my first live actually.
Yeah, me
so
too.
Don't be scared of Facebook Live. Great way to cover your events that you're doing. exciting way to engage people. And also, because it's so new, people get a notification still that says, you know, Emily is live, which might make loads more people click on it because it will come up as a notification.
That's great as well. If you're doing like the £5 food challenge or something like that, and you're cooking in your kitchen, you could you know, Facebook Live it and you know, show people what you're eating for dinner, and you know, because that's a really difficult challenge. It's something that, again, people can interact
a whole
with.
5k.
Yeah. In 1 minute and a half.
Oh no, lives can be longer.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay. And then, just in terms of image size, so there are kind of optimum image sizes for different channels. This is a bit nerdy, but that's my job. So for Facebook, if you want the perfect image size, that's square on Facebook. So just go for square images if you're using a single image.
Okay. Yeah. And we're going to send a link, aren't we, afterwards anyway, in the resources?
Yeah, we'll be sharing a link to the kind of optimum social media sizes for all the different channels. It just makes your post look a bit more professional.
Yeah.
So, but obviously not absolutely necessary.
Okay, great. Should we go on to Twitter then?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, top tips for Twitter. I'm not actually a Twitter user, so this is going to be all Emily.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter is probably like down the bottom for our demographic for ICS, because it's kind of dropped off a bit in recent years, but very, very useful tool if you're thinking about getting your message out there beyond your circle of friends, you know, to a wider audience, and tap into conversations that are happening around the world about the kinds of things that you're talking about, and the development cause specifically. So you're limited to 140 characters. That means that you have to be a bit creative in terms of how you're saying things. So you can link to longer form articles, good place to share your blogs so people can click through to read more. Another way to cheat on saving characters, you can create graphics. So specifically, if you created a graphic that had your, you know, text to donate code on it, then you wouldn't need that information in the actual tweet itself.
And you can get that. Just Giving has resources online for just text giving code, so you can post something like that in a graphic.
Another cheat is if you include an image. So you've got your tweet, you've used your graphic to save even more characters, because you're not having to tell them how to donate. So you can add a bit of information about ICS, and then you can tag up to 10 accounts in that tweet by tagging them in the photo. So that means that you could share it with ICS UK, with VSO or whoever your agency is, without having to actually use up any of your characters, which is a really useful thing. So yeah, up to 10 organisations who you might want to share your tweet.
Great.
Yeah, use hashtags, especially around Awareness Day. So if you check out what's trending, there might be something that's relevant to your cause and what you're talking about. What might be really good to research is accounts that are in your local area. If you're doing a local fundraising event, there are these websites called hyper-local websites, which is like really focused in local areas that so they'll be updating their Twitter accounts about stuff that is going on kind of in a very small area, and they've kind of exploded over the last few years. So really good promotion, and really and then some of them are really, really influential as well. So if you can get those kinds of people to post about what you're doing, and they will care, because if that's what's happening down the road, then so that's a good thing to know about. Videos can only be 2 minutes and 20 seconds long.
Very specific.
Yes. Which is actually longer than it used to be. They just made it longer, which is useful. And images are best sized at 2x1, so twice as long as they are high.
Okay.
Because otherwise, on people's feeds, it can cut out the top and the bottom. So it looks a lot more professional if you're using 2x1 images. So I would say if you're going to be filming a video that's going directly into Twitter, then film it horizontally.
Okay, Brilliant. Okay, should we whiz through Instagram? and Snapchat as well.
Yeah, I kind of put these two together because they have the same kind of limitations in a way, because it's much more difficult to share actual links on Instagram and Snapchat. So on Instagram, what best practice for organisations to do now is to have the link as the only link available to you, which is the bio link. So in your bio on your page, there's one link there. So use that. Put your donation, put your Just Giving page there.
Yeah.
And then whenever you post about it on Instagram, direct people there. That's best practice on Instagram anyway, as you probably have seen organisations saying things like check the bio link for more information. That's just what people say now, to get around the fact that you can't, that if you put a link in your post text, it won't actually be a URL. It won't link anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, technical, but good to know about.
Yeah.
And also, use graphics as well on Snapchat and Instagram. It's a great place for them. The text to donate graphic, that then you don't have to send anyone anywhere. They can just literally donate based on your graphic.
The information.
So, optimum images are square, as you might know.
Yeah. But it is, it is a really good one. Again, Snapchat, if you're out doing a bake sale at an old, your old school, or if you're giving a talk to your old school, or perhaps a community group, you could ask someone to record you and put that in your story. It's a really good way to just show friends and family, and then the connections that you have on there, that you're not just asking for money, you are out there being really active and trying really hard to raise the funds, and again, people just can interact a bit easier with it, and once they can see you doing something, they're more sort of trusting, I guess, in donating to you.
Yeah, I would say the same way Facebook Live would work, and Periscope. Actually, I didn't mention Periscope, but that's a good way to stream live on Twitter. Then using stories on Instagram and Snapchat is another great way to kind of cover your fundraising events as you're doing them.
Cool. Should we chat a bit about YouTube then? As we've seen a couple of really good examples there. Do you want to talk a little bit about your top tips then for YouTube?
Sure. So, I mean, if you are making videos, then it's probably worth uploading them to YouTube as well, just because it puts them out onto another platform, and they could potentially reach different audiences. But what you need to do on YouTube is just make sure that you tag things really well. So make sure you're filling in all the data about the video in as best way as you can, and give as much information as possible. Put lots of keywords, so lots of things, topics that the video relates to. Make sure you've done all of that so people can find it. And then we had an example recently of one of our volunteers who made a video with a food vlogger who has a massive amount of subscribers on YouTube, and they basically baked some Rice Krispie cakes together for a bake sale, and talked about like the best ways to set up a bake sale. So it was a little feature in her vlog, but also it spread the word about her fundraising and her ask, and about ICS as well. So she was a restless volunteer, so that worked really, really well, and she has like thousands of subscribers. So again, use your friends.
Yeah, if you've got any of your friends who have loads of followers, and anyone who's if you've got any friends who like making videos, I guess the important thing to always remember with your fundraising is that you're not alone, and you don't have to do every single thing on your own. Rope in your friends, rope in your family members. If they like making videos, they could probably show you how to do it, or work with you on it and help you with that. So it's a really good way to kind of use other people's skills.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and you talked briefly a little bit about LinkedIn, and I guess, are there any kind of other platforms that may not be so obvious, do you think?
I mean, if you've got a following on a platform that I haven't mentioned, then yeah, absolutely. I guess LinkedIn's great for, as I've said, professionals who might be a bit more active, because people like to look like they're doing things on LinkedIn, so they will be more responsive for that self-interested reason, slightly. And might have a bit more money as well on LinkedIn. I think more people, the value of donations through LinkedIn is higher than any other platform, which is really interesting.
Yeah. So even if you don't use it yourself, if you know anyone who use it, if your parents are on there, or friends, get them to post something, share on there.
Pinterest could be a really good thing to use if you are. I know quite a few of our volunteers make products to sell as part of their fundraising. So I saw some postcards this week which look really great. So Pinterest is quite a good way to kind of get the word out about things like that. Lots of products up there. I like Pinterest. But yeah, if I've left any out and you have questions about specific channels that I haven't covered, then drop me a question. Canva.
This one, Canva. Adam said he's been using that for images.
Oh,
so it's not really
perfect.
a platform, but
So Canva. I wasn't actually going to mention Canva, but I was going to mention Pablo, which is similar. Canva is it's the same thing. So there are a number of really great online tools that you can use to create images if you don't have Photoshop. I don't have Photoshop because it's really expensive. And they make it super, super easy. I know that Pablo specifically kind of gives you, it's designed only to create social media graphics, so they're in the right sizes already, and you just need to kind of add the imagery and the text, and it's really, really easy.
And you're going to send out a link.
Yeah, we'll send out. And thanks. We'll definitely add Canva to that because I've heard really good things about that one, even though I don't use it myself. But yeah, those kinds of things are really great. Make it so easy.
And I wanted to mention actually a really nice quote from one of our volunteers, a Raleigh ICS volunteer, who said about social media, that the whole experience of using it she said, it put me out of my comfort zone. I'm not a big fan of posting updates and on my social media regularly. Initially I thought I was being a massive pest. Eventually I realised I was raising more awareness and more people were reaching out to me about what I was doing, but it was a slow process and I did not receive donations overnight. So I just think that really kind of sums it up nicely, that it's not going to be completely instant. Like you said, it's about creating a story, taking people on a journey from as soon as you're selected right up until you go overseas and come back and do your action at home. So it's about the bigger picture. It's not just about the fundraising. It's kind of, sharing that and raising awareness at the same time. So I think we're going to kind of sum up now. I don't know if you want to kind of mention what resources we're going to send out to people. Unless anyone has any last minute questions. I've double checked and I can't see any extra ones, but if you do have one, pop it on there now and we'll try and cover it.
Yeah, or just pop it on there, and if we don't have time just now, then we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Cool.
So resources.
So I'm going to share a few of the things that I've already mentioned, but then another thing to bear in mind is if you want posts to look really professional, you can use a thing called link shorteners to make your links smaller. That was specifically for Twitter because it looks a lot neater.
That's cool.
Like that. So I'm going to share a couple of websites where you can do that. It just makes it look a bit slicker,
professional.
Exactly.
Nice.
And also going to share as who was it who mentioned Canva? Adam, yeah. I'm going to share some great free online graphic design tools which should make creating graphics and creating interesting imagery even easier for you. So a couple of those, Pablo, PicMonkey is also another great one, and Canva, we will also share the link to that. And then, as I also mentioned, if you're struggling for images to use, there's a couple of online resources for free, royalty-free pictures, so you can use those. So one of them is Unsplash, which is photos which don't have any royalty attached to them, so you can just take them and use them. And then Compfight is another one that basically searches Flickr for photos that are that don't need you to that don't have any royalties attached to them, so you can use them. But a lot of the Flickr images, you will need to do things like attribute a photographer or something like that. There are various restrictions on some of those images. But that's really useful if you're struggling for interesting images to use.
but use your own pictures as well. Like,
oh yeah, no, definitely.
I know what you
this is kind of supplementary to. Like maybe if you, the blogs that you're using to talk about placement, and you might not have that much resources. But then again, do ask us if you need some photos, maybe from ICS, because we do have a lot of those that we could definitely share.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, you know, when I was saying, like, you use your own images, I just mean that, you know, if you took a picture at your training, people have used that to tweet that image or share that again on different social media platforms, to just let people know that they're out there and doing it, basically. So yeah, it's great. Well, I think because there's no other questions, as I can see at the moment, I think we're going to wrap up now. So just want to say a big thank you to Emily first, actually, for joining us and sharing all her knowledge and wisdom. And also would love to say thank you to all you guys for joining us. We hope it was useful. And yeah, any extra questions that you maybe are thinking about, or if they crop up a bit later, either post them on there, comment on there, and we can get to it, or directly send something to your fundraising support officer. And we can always cross-reference with Emily if we're not sure.
Sure, yeah. And we'll be sharing the resources and also a few more examples, so you can have a look through those.
Okay. Great. Okay. See you. Bye, guys.
See you later.
See you later.